Welcome back to Artists and Authors. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is David Spencer. David, welcome back to the show.
Nice
You've been on
back.
before, and you are a painter of landscapes, an artist. And so we were talking. Hold on, I'm gonna
go ahead. You first.
We were talking before we went on camera that you don't just paint landscapes, but the landscapes you paint has to speak to you, inspire you, in order to bring out that creative juice that's within you, and you're pretty good. I was looking at some pictures.
Thank you very much.
So welcome
Yes.
back to the show.
Glad to be here. I've been working, and we have an art hop today, so I'm hoping to have maybe sell a few.
Well,
yeah,
you've sold a few in the past. You'll sell more, I'm sure. Okay, today is January 2nd, and it is a Thursday, and you're going to be at Art Hop where?
At Sorensen's Gallery.
At what time?
From 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock this evening.
And Sorensen's Gallery is located where?
It's the very end of Van Ness. In fact, there's a very iconic leaving Fresno or entering Fresno sign right next to it.
Okay.
So
yeah, I know where that's
and a railroad.
Matter of fact, that's a pretty. I've had people on before from that's a nice gallery.
There's a lot of people there, and it's been good for me because I get to meet other artists, and there's a lot of foot traffic. You don't only get who is might be interested in what you do, but you get
right. So, David,
others.
Different artists are pulled to paint different types of concepts in their paint, in their work. What pulled you to doing landscapes?
Well, I started off painting when I retired about 6 years ago, and I was doing mostly snapshots of my own life, and I was really getting a lot out of it, and my house is covered with them. I have about 50 or 60 that are stages of my life, but I realized it is not sellable. Not that being sellable is the main thing, but I realized that if I did landscapes that are very made an impression upon me, that I'm putting something of myself out there, and it's something other people can relate to also.
But you not only paint landscapes, you paint them at a very high resolution. You were telling me that some people, looking at them oftentimes think that they might be photographs. That form of realism has kind of been gone from the art world for a long time, and it's awesome that you're doing that because, no pun intended, it's an art that needs to be brought back. How did you get drawn to painting at that level instead of like an impressionistic type or a modern type of work, but you paint with such realism?
Well, I didn't start that way. I started off impressionistic, and I would take a canvas and probably spend no more than 3 days on it. One just to get the colors down, and then another to fix up the detail, and a third day to finish. Yeah. But I found I did one that was kind of a commission. It was for a friend of mine, and I wanted it to look better, and I put more time into it. I said, well, let me try putting more detail, and I found that by adding extra detail, extra texture, and especially the color white, by adding that, I would increase the power of the picture. By having more detail, there would be more to it.
To you as you describe that, I can tell it doesn't faze you at all, man. You're really into this, aren't you? It really speaks to you to create at that level. That's awesome.
I love it. I love it, and I do other things too.
We have this one on the screen here. Tell me a little bit about this.
That's if you walk down Palm Avenue. That's I call that one the backyard of statues. And these are usually things I've walked by hundreds of times. I've lived in Fresno all my adult life, and a lot of the scenery has kind of burned itself into my consciousness, and this is one I've just walked by so many times, and that's actually a second version of that scene.
Yeah,
I did another painting of that sold, so I did
and
another
looking
one.
at that, I can see how, people can mistake your work for, a photograph. That's
Thank you.
yeah, you're kind of up there. That's almost kind of rarefied in the artwork today.
That one.
Yeah.
That one is it's right down Van Ness by Tulare Street. You go over, I think, a little bit to the east,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that mural. I walked by it many, many times, and I didn't want to just recreate the mural, so I took enough of the scene.
Right.
Where you get the car parked next to it and the sidewalk and the street.
Well, it brings context to your work too. When you do that.
And that's just right up Van Ness, right there, the tattoo place.
I was going to ask you also. I failed to, but look at the medium you work with. Is it acrylic or you work with oil?
Acrylic.
You do with acrylic.
Yeah, oil. Too much trouble.
Yeah,
I tried that, and
a
too
lot of
much
work to it,
trouble.
huh?
Yeah, and it never dries and wrecks your clothes.
That's awesome, man. And you're going to be on display at Sorensen tonight.
Yeah,
At 5 to
8.
5 to 8.
Yeah.
And the Sorensen Gallery once again is located where?
The very south end of Van Ness.
Van Ness.
Yes.
And if I happen to have seen this, either live as we're on the air now or in a rebroadcast, I like what I see. I'm not going to be able to make art hop, but I'd like to be able to possibly talk to you about purchasing some of your, or a particular piece of work. How do I get a hold of you?
Probably through the gallery.
Okay.
I have had one, in fact. Somebody bought one of my pieces when I wasn't there, and I thought they stole it.
Oh.
And but there was an envelope that was left in the office, and it had the $100 in cash.
Awesome. So you have a space in the gallery.
Yeah, actually, just half a space,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
but it's enough to display and.
Do you have like a Facebook page or something where your work is displayed online where someone can look at it?
I put it on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I have the 400 friends and all that stuff.
Right. So that's your personal page.
But almost all I do with it is put paintings,
Yeah.
and I also write music. I also sometimes I'll just write stories and post them, and
a
people
lot of
read them.
creativity in this gentleman sitting next to me.
Well, it's if you look at most creative people, though, like Miles Davis, I said he did. He spent all day painting,
Yeah.
and then he'd do music at night.
Yeah.
And awful lot of singer-songwriters, they're the same.
I have heard that.
They like John Mellencamp. He did a documentary, and it was not as a singer-songwriter. It was an artist and a singer-songwriter,
So there you go.
and
Well,
all the
listen,
others too.
Thanks for being with us today.
Oh,
You do some beautiful work, man. That's awesome.
oh, thank you.
You come on back. I want to see some more. All right.
Sure,
There you go.
sure.
And good luck.
All right.
Okay, today, January 2nd, at the Sorensen Gallery. It's right at the end of the Van Ness, near the sign leaving or arriving in Fresno. 5 to 8 this evening, Art Hop. Dave's got some incredible work there, along with some other artists. But, you might want to go just to look at the stuff he's got. Looks really good. And I'll see you when we come back.